Hello listeners and welcome to Boomerang. This week it is Team 4 bringing you the news taken with permission from the West Lothian Courier, published on Thursday the 15th of January 2026. And our readers today are Kate, Jackie, Alison and Joyce. Jackie has very kindly prepared the paper for a recording today, so thanks go to her for that. Harry is our recorder and copier, and Joan will organise the distribution of the wallets after this recording. As usual, there will be 4 parts. Part 1 will be general news. Part 2 will include family announcements. Part 3 will include the quiz. And in Part 4, there will be some sports news, as well as the answers to the quiz. So, let's get started with the lead story this week and Kate.
British Army vet who attacked cops is jailed. Taylor threw Molotov cocktails at Livingston Police Station. By Sarah Ward. A British Army veteran who threw Molotov cocktails at a police station after his criminal record was revealed has been jailed for 3 years. Jamie Taylor previously admitted 2 charges relating to explosive substances and endangering life and culpable and willful conduct. A court heard that 34-year-old suffers from complex post-traumatic stress disorder after serving in Helmand Province, Afghanistan. Taylor, who has 11 previous convictions, took a taxi to Livingston Police Station on May 30th, 2025, armed with 4 vodka bottles filled with petrol. He lit one of them and threw it at 5 marked police vans parked outside. After the petrol bomb ignited, he hurled another explosive which prompted PC Kirsty Forsyth to run to extinguish the blaze. Taylor then lit a 3rd petrol bomb and threw it, causing flames which went above PC Forsyth's head, the court heard. He pleaded guilty in November at the High Court in Edinburgh and was sentenced on Tuesday at the High Court in Stirling. Taylor admitted 1 charge of causing an explosion of a nature likely to endanger life or cause serious damage to property, and another charge of culpable and recklessly throwing a petrol bomb towards PC Forsyth, which exploded to the danger of her life. Judge Lady Ross sentenced Taylor to 3 years and 6 months in prison, with a 12-month supervision order imposed. She told him, "Even though you were not aiming at her, you put PC Forsyth's life in danger. This was obviously dangerous and criminally stupid. You had a sense of grievance against the police to do with another individual. The police is not a faceless organisation. It is made up of responsible people who run towards danger." She added, "You were a soldier for 8 years and experienced serious trauma. You have complex PTSD. You understand what you did was wrong. You have made progress in prison and have the support of your mother. The seriousness of offending means there is no alternative to custody. It is very plain you need help. You need supervision and sustained care." Defending, Ian McSporn KC said Taylor did not know PC Forsyth and was not an assault or targeted attack. He said Taylor had self-discharged from the army after his last tour of Afghanistan, and while serving had seen a close friend dying from an explosive device. Mr. McSporn said of Taylor, "He has a criminal record. He has served his country and has suffered the consequences of serving his country. His life came crashing down when he was about to move in with his partner. He lost that as a result of his criminal record, and he also lost his job. He thinks he might have been expecting police would kill him. He has been vague about his motivations. This was a reaction about police informing his partner. I think he will have to accept that this was motivation or provocation for his behaviour." He added, "Were it not for his mental health issues, this offence would never have happened. And it actually gives us a picture of Jamie Taylor and a picture of 5 police vehicles with fire ignited behind them from the bombs.
Under fire, Minister is staying put. Scotland's Justice Secretary has refused to quit her post despite a report by independent advisers finding she twice breached the Code of Conduct setting out how ministers should behave. Amond Valley MSP Angela Constance was found to have broken the ministerial code, although a report said she had done this, quote, without any deliberation or intention to mislead. Despite that, she faced calls from both Labour and the Scottish Conservatives to quit the Cabinet after being accused of misleading Holyrood by representing an independent expert. Sorry, I'll read that again. She was misleading Holyrood by misrepresenting an independent expert on grooming gangs during a debate last year. Scottish Conservative leader Russell Findlay hit out at the discredited Justice Secretary in the wake of her dealings with Professor Alexis Jay. The Tory demanded to know if Miss Constance had offered her resignation to Scottish First Minister John Swinney in the wake of Tuesday's report. Mr Findlay added that if the First Minister won't do the right thing and sack her, Miss Constance should do the right thing and quit. Scottish Labour leader Anas Sarwar also called on the Justice Secretary to step down, insisting she has, quote, lost the confidence of survivors and on that basis she must resign. Miss Constance, however, rejected their calls, telling MSPs, for some people, walking away is always easier than being held to account. I would much rather take the harder road of being held to account to making amends and getting on with the job. However, she stressed she did fully accept the findings of the independent advisor's report, which found she had unintentionally breached the code when she told Holyrood that Professor Jay agreed with her view that there did not need to be a grooming gang inquiry in Scotland. The expert later got in touch with Miss Constance to explain the comments she had quoted had nothing to do with the situation in Scotland. The Justice Secretary committed another inadvertent breach by not having an official present when she phoned the expert to apologise to her in December. Miss Constance told Holyrood that she was pleased the advisor's report made clear my quoting of Professor Jay's views was without any deliberation or intention to mislead. And while she stressed she did not intend to mislead Parliament in any way, she accepted that the record of Holyrood proceedings could have and should have been corrected earlier. In a formal letter of reproof to the Justice Secretary, Mr Swinney said he was grateful to my advisers for their unequivocal assertion that there is no evidence that your statement to Parliament was inaccurate or untruthful. While the First Minister noted a correction had been made via a meeting of the National Child Sexual Abuse and Exploitation Group, he told Miss Constance, the advisers are clear that given the significance the debate has to both the Parliament and to the public, further steps should have been taken in order to ensure that this correction was also made to the Parliament. The advisers' report also concludes that an official should have been present for the telephone call that you held with Professor Jay on December the 1st, given the complex and highly sensitive nature of the matters at hand and the importance of transparency. They recognised that the decision not to do so represents an error of judgment on your behalf at that specific moment. Accepting the recommendations of the advisers, the First Minister said, I know that you share my belief that ministers must act in a way that upholds the highest standards of propriety, and that it is absolutely right that, as office holders, ministers are held to the highest possible standards of proper conduct. I also know that you will continue to reflect on these matters and ensure that due process is followed in all circumstances and in such a way that meets our obligations to the Parliament, and to ensure that these errors, while inadvertent, are not repeated in the future.
Gillian's gift of new home for Pooch Colin by Ross Thompson. A West Lothian woman was the first person in 2026 to adopt a new pet from Dogs Trust Rehoming Centre in Glasgow. No sooner had the doors opened at the rehoming centre to welcome in the new year than 16-year-old terrier crossbreed Colin was wagging his tail in welcome as his new owner, Gillian Andrade, arrived to take him home. Cute as a button, Colin came into Dogs Trust care in December 2025 after being rescued through the charity's Chance of a Lifetime scheme. The scheme rescues dogs from council pounds in Northern Ireland, transferring them within the UK to one of the Dog Trust's rehoming centres. Colin spent just 26 days at Dogs Trust Glasgow before happily trotting off to his new life with Gillian in West Lothian. Gillian said, "I have a 2-year-old Jack Russell Terrier called Poppy, and I was looking for another dog. When I saw Colin on the Dogs Trust website, my heart melted. I know older dogs are often overlooked, and I don't like to think of older dogs in kennels during winter. I think both of my dogs will help each other in different ways. Colin is going to be so spoiled now." Claire Kearney, rehoming manager at Dogs Trust Glasgow, said, "Seeing Colin head home with Gillian is the best start possible to the new year. We're not surprised he melted Gillian's heart, as he had the same effect on us at the centre. Colin is a very well-behaved lad who's sprightly for his age, which just goes to show that a dog's age doesn't define their nature and character. We couldn't be happier that he was rescued from kennels in Northern Ireland and within a month has found a loving new home in Scotland. What an adventure he's been on, with the happiest of endings." Dogs Trust is the UK's largest dog welfare charity and cares for over 11,000 dogs every year across its network of 21 rehoming centres in the UK, including in West Calder and one in Dublin. And there's a beautiful photograph to go along with this lovely story, and it's captioned, "Firm friends, Gillian with Colin at the Dogs Trust Centre in Glasgow." And Gillian is looking very happy. She's wearing her big puffer coat, smiling at the camera. She's sitting on a sofa with Colin, who's on the sofa, but it's in the Dogs Trust building, so it's all made comfortable for the dog. And Colin is looking straight at the camera and he looks absolutely beautiful. And there's also a bright yellow Dogs Trust bag with their slogan, "A dog is for life." Life or Death Care Investment Gap, Amy's Critical Fight by Ross Thompson. A West Lothian woman has bravely shared her cancer ordeal after the stark disparity between funding for different cancers in Scotland was revealed. Research has revealed that some of the deadliest common cancers receive less than 1/5 of the funding, despite accounting for nearly 40% of deaths. Statistics show 6 of the so-called less survivable cancers, brain, liver, lung, esophagus, pancreas or stomach, receive just 18.9% of all government funding cancer research. The finding is based on data obtained via Freedom of Information request by the Less Survivable Cancers Task Force, LSCT. It said each of these cancers receive around £130 less research funding per death than the average across all cancers. Some, like esophagus cancer, receive as little as £40 per death in research funding, compared with an average of £310. The task force is now calling upon the UK and Scottish governments to remove barriers such as limited access to and lack of awareness of clinical trials, and incentives research into less survivable cancers. The group said, This stark imbalance in funding is resulting in poorer outcomes for patients. Figures released by the task force last year found more than half, 61%, of people in Scotland diagnosed with one of the 6 less survivable cancers will die from their disease within 12 months. Amy McNamara from Bathgate was diagnosed with a high-grade brain tumour called astrocytoma in July 2023. The news was all the more devastating because the 30-year-old had already lost 2 family friends to brain tumours. Following surgery, and months of gruelling radiotherapy and chemotherapy, Miss McNamara is now under active monitoring via 3 monthly scans. She explained, "Although I'm so glad most of my tumour was removed, it's tough to know that some of it is still here. There's an urgent need for more research into brain tumours, given the numbers being diagnosed daily and the poor survival rates." These are terrifying statistics to look at, whether you are someone personally diagnosed or if it's a family member or friend. She said in the short time since her own diagnosis, 3 people she knows have been diagnosed with a brain tumour. Miss McNamara added, "As much as the current treatment can help, there should be much more effort put into trying to find effective new medications and reduce the pain, as well as trying to catch brain tumours earlier to allow people to still have their lives. All patients should have best possible chance of survival, according to Lorraine Dallas, chairwoman of the LSCT Scotland group. She said, "Improving Scotland's overall cancer survival rate hinges on targeting less survivable cancers, and this data underlines the critical need for urgent action. Scotland has played a leading role in pioneering initiatives to support earlier diagnosis and improve surveillance, but we have the potential and vitally need to do so much more. We want the Scottish Government to commit to addressing the research gap and ensuring that all patients, regardless of cancer type, have the best possible chance of survival." The LSCT said the funding gap showed the need for increased investment into research aimed at improving outcomes for the patients. More than 95,000 people are diagnosed with one of the less survivable cancers in the UK every year. On Tuesday, the LSCT is hosting an event for MSPs at Holyrood as part of the Less Survivable Cancers Awareness Week. Labour Health spokeswoman Dame Jackie Bailey is among those backing the campaign. She said, "So many of us have loved ones who have had their lives cut short due to one of the less survivable cancers. If we are going to improve outcomes for people diagnosed with these devastating diseases, then we must prioritise research into improving diagnosis and treatments that can truly make a difference." And this is accompanied by a picture of Amy in her hospital gown, looking quite radiant, smiling and with a thumbs up.
Police make drugs discovery. 2 men have appeared in court after more than 1,000 cannabis plants, estimated to be worth nearly £800,000, were found at an industrial estate in West Lothian. The bust was made shortly after 10 a.m. on Tuesday, January the 6th. Routine patrol officers discovered a cultivation containing around 1,300 plants at a premises on the Alban Industrial Estate in the town of Broxburn. The stash had an estimated street value of up to £780,000. 2 men were arrested and charged as a result and appeared at Livingston Sheriff Court on Wednesday, January the 7th. The first of the men, Roland Sadash, 33, was charged with producing and supplying drugs, or what is formally known as Misuse of Drugs Act 1971, Section 4, 2A, and Misuse of Drugs Act 1971, Section 4, 3B. He entered no plea and was remanded in custody. He will appear again in the next 8 days. The second man, Renato Shahu, also 33, was charged on the same 2 counts. He entered no plea and was remanded in custody. He too will appear again in the next 8 days. Neither of the men reported a fixed address. After the raid, cops took the opportunity to remind the public that drugs cause nothing but misery in our communities. In the meantime, officers are asking anyone with worries or fears about drugs in their area to contact Police Scotland. Detective Inspector John Irvin said, "Drugs cause nothing but misery in our communities, and we are dedicated to disrupting the activities of those involved in their supply." Recoveries such as this are an important part of our work to address drug-related crime in our communities. We rely on information from the public to support our efforts and would encourage anyone with concerns about drugs in their area to contact Police Scotland on 101 or Crime Stoppers anonymously on 0800 555 111.
Social care worker gets sanctioned. A Livingston social care worker has been struck off by the regulator after being convicted in court of stealing cash. On various occasions between October 2024, Forgiveness Chittenwanga stole a quantity of cash from a service user's home. She was convicted at Edinburgh Sheriff Court in April 2025. The Scottish Social Services Council told Chitengwa that removing her from the register was the only option available. The SSSC report states, "A crime of dishonesty clearly falls well below the standard expected of social care workers. You stole money on various occasions from a vulnerable service user who was in your care. By your actions, you caused him financial harm. Your actions also caused emotional harm in that the service user became distrustful and reluctant to allow other carers to enter his home. You were neither dependable nor reliable, as employers could not rely on you to safeguard the interests of those entrusted to your care. The panel concluded that your actions were a fundamental breach of trust with regards to the service user, your colleagues and your employer. You took advantage of your access to the service user to exploit him financially." The SSSC panel stated that there was a pattern of dishonesty and that the risk of repetition was high. The panel took into account the financial hardship Chitengwa faced around the time of the theft, but did not agree that this amounted to a mitigating factor. The report concludes, real financial harm was caused to the service user and he lost trust in social care workers for a period of time. It also risked financial and reputational harm to your employer and public confidence in the care sector. Your wrongdoing was a pattern of deliberate dishonesty for financial gain. It's a serious departure from the relevant professional standards set out in the Code. While it is accepted that there's likely to be a significant financial impact on you and your family, this has to be balanced against the need to protect the public and the public's confidence in the profession.
We have now come to the end of Part 1, and in Part 2, family announcements will be included. Welcome to Part 2, and we will begin with the family announcements. There are 3 this week, and they are all deaths. DL, Kathleen, from Linlithgow. Peacefully, on the 27th of December 2025, and after a short illness, Kathleen, née Wheatley, aged 88 years, adored wife of the late Tam, loving and much-loved mother of Gordon and Moira, mother-in-law of Pam and Ian, a devoted grandmother of Matthew, James, Tom and Walter, dear sister of John, Anthony, Michael and the late Patrick, and loved by their families and all her many friends. The Requiem Mass will be held at St Mary's Catholic Cathedral, Broughton Street, Edinburgh, on Friday the 23rd of January at 12:45 p.m, to which all friends are respectfully invited. The family then extend an invitation to join with them for some light refreshments, as a private interment will be held separately. Hamilton, Helen, 1712-1932 till the 26th of December 2025, formerly of Holborn Square, Broxburn. Passed away peacefully at Livingston Care Home on the 26th of December 2025, aged 93. Helen, beloved wife to the late Archie, much-loved mum to Sheila and Helen, adored Nana, aunt and friend to many. A funeral mass will be held at St John Cantia's and St Nicholas on Thursday 22nd January at 11 a.m. Thereafter to Loning Hill Cemetery. All are welcome to attend. McFarlane, Catherine, Crichton, 22/6/1938 till 24/1/2025. Passed away peacefully, I think maybe it's 24/12/2025. Passed away peacefully on 24th December, aged 87 years, of East Calder. Beloved widow of Thomas, beloved mum to Yvonne, Thomas, Martin and Edward, and a much-loved mother-in-law to Colin. A cherished grandmother to Claire, Cameron, Caitlin and Duncan, and a loving great-gran to Grace and Lily. Funeral service to be held on Saturday 24th January at 10 a.m. in St Teresa's Church, East Calder, and the address at the bottom of that intimation is 20 Howden South Road, Livingston, EH54 6AT. And that brings us to the end of the family announcements for this week. And now we will go back to general news and Kate.
Andrew's bandmates bid to help by Fionnuala Boyle. The heartbroken bandmates of a tragic West Lothian business owner who died on a mountainside on Hogmanay have launched a fundraiser for the mountain rescue team who helped bring him home. Father of two, Andrew Ure, was reported missing after going for a hike on Ben Vane near Loch Lomond on December the 31st. Andrew, lead singer of Falkirk band The Ray Summers, who supported Paolo Nutini and Doves, had just turned 41 the previous day. His loved ones grew concerned when he didn't return home and emergency services were alerted. Aracher Mountain Rescue Team sadly discovered Andrew's body shortly before midnight. His little dog Penny was found with him, but survived. His fellow bandmates have now started a Just Giving page for the team who retrieved Andrew. The page quickly smashed the initial 1,000 target and now stands at more than 5,000 and counting. Paying tribute to Andrew on social media, the band wrote, "We wanted to do something special to honour our friend and raise money for the heroes Aracher Mountain Rescue Team who located Andy and Penny and carried them off the mountain on Hogmanay. Our sincerest thanks and gratitude for Andy. We love you." Andy's partner, Lindsay Waddle, 40, led online tributes to him. She said, "On your birthday, you wanted to look at the stars with me. Little did I know the next day you would be one of them. You were my guiding light and the biggest star of all." Brother David added, "On Hogmanay, Andy was buzzing about what 2026 had in store for us, but firstly about getting out for a hill walk in all his new birthday gear. So many people have lost a part of their world as he meant so much to many. Heartbroken doesn't even come close." Entrepreneur Andy was a co-founder of the annual Vibration Music Festival in his hometown, which was rebranded Falkirk Fest last year. He also owned the Wee Whisky Shop in Linlithgow and a cafe in Grangemouth. The wee whisky shop said, "Words cannot fully express the pain of his loss, and our thoughts are with Andy's family at this incredible time." Falkirk Whisky Club added, "Very sad news that our founder, Andy Ure, passed away on Hogmanay. Andy was a force of nature, irreplaceable, and will be sorely missed. Andy and I met through our shared love of whisky, and many, many whisky friends have reached out over the last couple of days as you filter through and overwhelmingly send their love to his family. Andrew's passing has been described as a huge loss to the Scottish music scene. Ross Coote said, "Was an honour to work with the Ray Summers Band on various occasions where he really had something special as a frontman. Was great seeing his business ventures, including festivals, go from strength to strength in recent years. A huge loss to the Scottish music scene. Think of all Andrew's friends and family." Fellow musicians Stevie Duke said, "When I started our last band, the Ray Summers were one of the best bands around and one we truly looked up to, with Andy front and centre as one of the finest frontmen in the country. Over the last few years, Andy was so kind to message regularly, chatting about music and whisky. I hope you're having a dram with the big man upstairs, Andy, R.I.P. A Police Scotland spokesman said at the time, around 7 p.m. on Wednesday, December the 31st, 2025, we received a report of concern for a hill walker missing on Ben V near Archa. Officers and Archa Mountain Rescue Team attended and traced the 41-year-old man who is pronounced dead at the scene. There are no suspicious circumstances and a report will be submitted to the Procurator Fiscal." And actually this is accompanied by a picture of Andy saying, and it's him up a mountain waving and captioned, "Sadly missed. Andrew Ure was reported missing after going for a Hogmanay hike."
MSP urges residents to take part in airport consultation. Linlithgow MSP Fiona Hislop is urging West Lothian residents to take part in Edinburgh Airport's consultation on proposed changes to arrival and departure routes flown by aircraft using the airport. Edinburgh Airport is one of 18 airports across the UK seeking airspace change as part of UK Government's airspace modernisation strategy. Fiona met with representatives of Edinburgh Airport in December to ensure that the interests of local communities are fully considered throughout the process. Based on the information available, the areas most likely to be directly affected within the Linlithgow constituency include Broxburn, Uphall, Decmont, Bridgend, Ecclesmachan, Philpston and the Springfield area of Linlithgow. Fiona said, "It is vital that local voices are heard during this consultation. I recognise that Edinburgh Airport is an important national asset, providing an essential service in connecting Scotland to the rest of the world and providing local employment opportunities. However, they must fully consider the views, concerns and experiences of their neighbouring communities when making decisions that affect so many. Community and my West Lothian constituents' views must carry meaningful value in determining the outcomes following this consultation. I will be submitting a response to the consultation to ensure that the concerns raised with me by constituents are represented, and I strongly encourage all constituents to submit their views before the consultation closes on Sunday, January the 25th.
A war of words erupts over new health centre. Livingston MP forces debate over overcrowded services, by Ross Thompson. A fierce debate has broken out among parliamentarians over the new proposed health centre in one West Lothian town. East Calder Medical Centre was built to serve approximately 4,500 to 6,000 patients. It is now serving around 16,000 patients, with projections approaching 20,000 as the community grows. The practice is severely overcrowded, placing sustained pressure on staff and patients. A Freedom of Information request to the Scottish Government, sent by Livingston MP Gregor Poynton, requested the minutes of meetings in the Scottish Government which referenced discussions about alternative finance models for a new medical centre, including engagement between officials and the Scottish Futures Trust. However, the FOI response stated that no minutes were taken of the April 2025 meeting. The Government does not hold the information requested because no minute exists, and there was no reference to East Calder Medical Centre in the documents provided to ministers. Mr Poynton blasted Almond Valley MSP and current Scottish Justice Secretary Angela Constance, who had stated that a new approach was being developed with the Scottish Futures Trust to support health projects like East Calder through revenue-funded investment rather than traditional capital funding. He said Angela Constance promised East Calder patients faster action on a new medical centre and, as recently as this summer, claimed alternative funding routes were actively being explored. We took those claims seriously and asked the Scottish Government to produce the evidence. The FOI responses are damning. There are no minutes, no papers, and no reference to East Calder at all. That means there is simply no documentary basis for what people were told. This comes in the same week the Justice Secretary has apologised for misleading Parliament. East Calder patients will rightly ask whether she has now misled her own constituents as well. After 4 years of broken promises and a GP practice bursting at the seams, people deserve honesty, not spin. The SNP should be ashamed of raising expectations and delivering absolutely nothing. In September last year, the Scottish Government said that a review of capital spending was being undertaken and has pointed to pressure being created by a real terms reduction in Scotland's block grant. In response to Mr Poynton's FOI findings, Ms Constance said, "First and foremost, my constituents deserve progress, not political point scoring by politicians trying to manufacture issues where there are none." In correspondence to me, dated 18 July 2025, the Cabinet Secretary for Health, Neil Gray, confirmed that he instructed his officials to work with the Scottish Futures Trust to identify a revenue-funded investment programme focused on primary and community care. This approach is intended to allow projects such as East Calder to progress more quickly as opposed to relying on traditional funding routes, given the real terms cuts to capital funding by successive Westminster governments. The Health Secretary also said there was work to be done prior to the publication of Infrastructure Investment Plan. This will be published alongside the Scottish Government budget. I have therefore written again to the Health Secretary, calling for a new health centre to be included in the forthcoming Infrastructure Investment Plan. A letter sent to Ms Constance from Health Secretary Neil Gray has also confirmed that the health centre remains a priority. In the letter, Mr Gray said, "I understand the frustration that constituents feel about the pace of progress on this important project, and I welcome the opportunity to clarify the current position and provide you with information you can share with those you represent. I am pleased to confirm that the East Calder Medical Centre remains a priority for the Scottish Government, and further details on how the Government intends to deliver on that commitment will be announced as part of the forthcoming budget." Ms Constance added, "I am pleased that the Health Secretary has reaffirmed that the East Calder Medical Centre is a Scottish Government priority, and further details on delivering that commitment will be announced as part of the budget. He's also committed to meet with me to provide more information and to establish regular communication channels so updates can be shared with my constituents. As the Health Secretary's correspondence makes clear, his officials have been working on a funding model to deliver multiple primary care projects. The information released reflects a poorly constructed FOI request as opposed to lack of activity. I am clear that the people of East Calder deserve progress, not political bickering. And there is a photograph accompanying this story. It shows outside the East Calder Health Centre, Gregor Poynton MSP alongside party leader Anna Sarwar, Almond Valley candidate Jordan Stocco and council leader Lawrence Fitzpatrick alongside the practice manager who is Thanos Keramides.
Police launch probe. A West Lothian blaze on Hogmanay is being treated as willful as police launch an investigation. Emergency services were called to reports of a vehicle on fire on Heathbank in Livingston at around 2:25 a.m. on Wednesday, December the 31st. The Scottish Fire and Rescue Service, SFRS, extinguished the flames and there were no reports of any injuries. The SFRS sent 3 appliances to the scene when the alarm was raised. Detective Constable Chris Watson said this reckless act could have had far worse consequences. Thankfully, no one was hurt, but has left the occupants of the property shaken. It's vital we trace whoever is responsible, and I'm appealing for help from the public. Were you in the Heathbank area in the early hours of Wednesday the 31st of December and saw anyone acting suspiciously? Anyone with information is urged to contact police on 101, quoting 0293 of December 31st.
Damaged flats welcome new tenants home, and this is by Stuart Somerville. A Livingston block of flats badly damaged in a fire has now welcomed tenants from West Lothian's housing waiting list after a major upgrade which includes a new heating system for each home. A meeting of the East Livingston and East Calder Local Area Committee heard that the refurbished block in Catherine Street, Craigshill, had provided a new home to 22 people on the local housing list. Jonathan Bertram, housing manager at Almond Housing Association, said the relet of the properties represented a milestone in cooperation with West Lothian Council. Fire ripped through a ground floor flat in the block in January 2022. The blaze saw residents evacuated, with one person treated for smoke inhalation. Many families were displaced and left with, quote, nothing but the clothes on their backs, unquote. The fire required around 50 firefighters and 15 appliances to tackle the blaze. West Lothian Council and local community groups, including Livingston Football Club and the Tower Bar, provided extensive support and collected donations. Mr. Bertram told a meeting of the local area committee, 1,372 days after the fire that left 25 households homeless, the association welcomed back 3 existing residents and a further 22 households from the West Lothian Housing Register, which included 8 homeless applicants. The refurbished building, owned by Almond Housing Association, has seen improved insulation and new heating systems, which should cut costs for tenants. Mr. Bertram said, "This milestone represents a huge collective effort from our operational teams with the association to manage the processes well as a huge amount of collaboration through West Lothian Council through the process, who assisted us by providing temporary decant accommodation throughout the period. The refurbishment has delivered substantial improvement to the building, including insulation of new external wall rendering, significantly enhancing the sustainability of the building fabric. In a move towards sustainable heating solutions, the previous gas boiler system has been replaced with individual air source heating for each flat, providing modern, efficient heating and hot water. These upgrades are expected to build tangible upgrades for residents through reduced energy costs while contributing to Scotland's net zero targets. The project has been made possible through grant funding through the Scottish Housing Net Zero Fund, which supported the energy efficiency improvements.
Lorry crash at junction by Isla Story. 2 lorries crashed at a busy junction in West Lothian. The incident occurred at around 2:20 p.m. on Thursday, January the 8th, at the crossroads of the A706 and the B7015 near Longridge. Emergency services raced to the scene, with 1 man rushed to hospital. The surrounding roads were said to be at a standstill following the crash. Pictures of the scene, taken by another driver, show an HGV and another lorry facing each other in the middle of the junction. A Police Scotland spokesperson said, "We were called to a report of a crash involving an HGV and a lorry on the A706 near Longridge around 2:20 p.m. on Thursday, January the 8th. Emergency services attended and 1 man was taken to hospital for treatment." A Scottish Ambulance Service spokesperson said, "We received a call at 14:33 to attend a 2-vehicle road traffic collision at the junction of the A706 and the B7015. An ambulance and a special operations response team were dispatched to the scene and 1 patient was transported to the University Hospital, Monklands."
And that story brings us to the end of part 2. And in part 3, there will be the quiz to look forward to. Welcome to part 3, and we will begin with the quiz. Question 1. Which major river runs through the city of Nottingham? Is it the Trent, the Tyne, or the Tamar? Question 2. What is the word GAMP, that's G-A-M-P, GAMP, an informal name for? Is it for a car? Is it for an umbrella? Or is it for a horse? Question 3. Which US writer created the criminal defence lawyer Perry Mason? Was it Dashiell Hammett, Mickey Spillane, or Errol Stanley Gardner? Question 4. What is the capital city of Denmark? Is it Helsinki, Copenhagen, or Oslo? Question 5. Craven Cottage is the home ground of which English football club? Is it Queen's Park Rangers, Charlton Athletic, or Fulham? And question 6. What type of creature is a shoveler? S-H-O-V-E-L-E-R, a shoveler. Is it an insect, a duck, or a fish? So, those are our 6 questions for this week, and I hope you have every success with them. Now we'll go back to the ordinary news and Kate.
Over 7,000 meals handed out to locals over festivities by Ross Thompson. Aldi helped deliver 7,297 meals to people in West Lothian over the Christmas and New Year period by donating surplus food from its stores. The UK's 4th largest supermarket teamed up with local good causes across West Lothian, including Stonyburn and Bent's Future Vision Group, SCIO, Bethany Christian Trust and Waste Not Want Not in Curliston, to donate a range of fresh and chilled foods from its stores after closing early on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. Neighbourly, the community giving platform that partners with Aldi, found that charitable organisations faced increasing pressure over the winter period, with 4 in 5 charities saying demand for their services has risen over the past 6 months, and demand for food banks and other food provisions expected to increase by nearly 30% over the colder months. Aldi has worked with Neighbourly since 2019 and provides surplus food from all of its UK stores to thousands of charities across the country. Luke Emery, National Sustainability Director at Aldi UK, said, "This Christmas we were proud to support so many incredible charities across the UK who provide essential support to those in need. The services provided by food banks are more important than ever in the current climate, especially over the festive period, and we are committed to ensuring that those that rely on them have access to a wide range of high-quality foods." Steve Butterworth, CEO at Neighbourly, added, "We are so grateful to have Aldi's support for another year. Christmas is one of the busiest periods for our charities, and the donations from Aldi mean we can help even more people across the country who need that bit of extra support over the festive period." Shoppers can donate food to local charities, food banks and community groups via the community donation points in Aldi stores nationwide. Aldi also works with Company Shop Group, the UK's leading distributor of surplus food and household products to redistribute surplus food from its regional distribution centres. This year, it provided more than 250 free Christmas lunches to company shops, awarding winning Social Enterprise Community Shop. The UK's fourth largest supermarket also made it easier for shoppers to give back through a warm clothing and post-Christmas clear-out appeal, with the Salvation Army and Ink Post lockers allowing customers to donate coat, hats, scarves and gloves, as well as unwanted Christmas gifts in good condition at in-post locker donation points in Aldi stores across the UK. And this is accompanied by a lovely picture of 3 lovely young ladies, all volunteers, who have got their trolleys filled with surplus food and saying, "Thank you, surplus food was handed out by Aldi to people living in West Lothian."
Motor magic on show at museum. Scottish firm owner proud of collection that features cars from Harry Potter and James Bond films. A Scottish businessman who exhibits cars from Hollywood blockbusters has said his collection could be worth millions. Colin Anderson, founder of C.W. Anderson Funeral Directors in Paisley, is also the owner of Bowness Motor Museum, where he displays a collection of about 40 cars. The museum is currently exhibiting a working replica of the Chitty Chitty Bang Bang car, the famous 3-wheeled van featured in Only Fools and Horses, and a Ford Anglia used in the Harry Potter films. Mr. Anderson, 61, also collects James Bond memorabilia, including a White Lotus Esprit used in the 1977 film The Spy Who Loved Me, which has been on display since the museum opened. The museum, which is privately owned, attracts about 10,000 visitors per year and obtained charitable status in 2012. Mr. Anderson said 3 of his sons are actors, leading to connections within the film and television industry. He previously owned an antique shop in Paisley before setting up the funeral firm in 1999, and said it sparked his interest in collecting memorabilia. The museum opened in 2004 on a site which Mr. Anderson planned to use as a nursing home before he changed his business to a second funeral directors. Mr. Anderson said, "Being an antiques dealer, I liked classic cars. The main car is a White Lotus Esprit I bought in the 1990s from The Spy Who Loved Me. We decided to go ahead and collect more cars. The Harry Potter car was one of several used in interior shots. I have no idea how much it is all worth. At auction, it would probably be worth a couple of million." Mr. Anderson said the museum is a magnet for Harry Potter fans visiting Scotland. The Chitty Chitty Bang Bang car, which has been on loan to Dundee Museum of Transport but recently returned, was not used in the 1968 film, but is a replica authorised by production company MGM. Mr. Anderson said it is the only car that has got the working wings on it. It was not from the film itself, but was used by MGM. Its previous owners spent a fortune on getting it fixed. I bought it at auction. Mr. Anderson said many of the cars have been restored and should be roadworthy. He was inspired to begin collecting props from the Bond films after watching Sir Roger Moore in the TV show The Saint as a child. Mr. Anderson said Roger Moore's tuxedo was put up for sale by his estate at auction. It shows you how much people love Roger Moore as an actor, that many of his personal items were selling from between 4 to 6 times the estimates. I think the best of the Bond years have passed. I don't think they will be as popular as they used to be. They had 60 years of movies. He added, we didn't mean to collect Bond stuff, but a lot of props are from James Bond films. We have got a rocket launcher from a Pierce Brosnan film. A lot of Bond fans do tours of Scotland and visit locations in the films. Some of the film cars are sought after. There is a replica BMW Z3 in the barn and an Aston Martin 336, which was in a Daniel Craig photoshoot. Goldfinger actress Shirley Eaton signed the dashboard to mark the 40th anniversary of Goldfinger. Mr. Anderson was inspired by a friend who owned a motor museum in the Lake District and was considering expanding in Scotland. However, when that museum closed, Mr. Anderson brought some of the collection, including the Only Fools and Horses van. A Japanese Buddhist hearse is also on display with a model of Gollum from Lord of the Rings crouched in the vault. Mr. Anderson said the Buddhist hearse was owned by the co-op and used to showcase events. It is quite an item. When you open the back, it is like a gold vault. It came from Japan and was initially a Toyota, but converted into a hearse. Mr. Anderson said his favourite item is the White Lotus and added, I like the Roger Moore connection and it is an iconic car. It is the sort of car you just want to put your foot down. It is probably safer in the museum. And there's photographs here. There's photographs of Mr. Anderson. And he's standing looking very dapper in a black suit with a black waistcoat, black tie and a white shirt. And he's standing in front of a backdrop with 007 logo emblazoned on it. And also beside a yellow car with the 007 logo. There's also a photograph of the replica Chitty Chitty Bang Bang car and also the Fools and Horses van. Now, I was thinking to myself, what kind of car is a three-wheeler car? And then it just came to me, it's a Robin Reliant, isn't it, I think? And then there's also a photograph of the inside of the hearse and Gollum sitting there from Lord of the Rings. And there's another photograph of Mr. Anderson looking very proud of himself.
Housing Developers Support Basketball Club by Ross Thompson. Miller Homes Scotland East is supporting Lothian Phoenix Wheelchair Basketball Club in Armadale with its Community Fund initiative by donating £1,000. Since launching in 2022, the Community Fund has made a meaningful difference to local communities across Scotland, awarding £344,000 in grants to 538 organisations. The initiative has helped a wide range of projects, from supporting food banks, sports teams, music groups and creative spaces. So far in 2025, the Community Fund has supported 17 groups across Scotland with a share of £20,000, including Lothian Phoenix Wheelchair Basketball Club. Miller Homes' donation to the group will go towards purchasing vital equipment such as inner tubes for wheels, replacement leg, foot and waist strapping to secure players in the chairs, wheel bags to keep the wheels together and make transporting them easier for away games, replacement balls and storage bags, first aid supplies, and a case for the portable scoreboard. Josh Bryson, chairperson at Lothian Phoenix Wheelchair Basketball Club, said, "We're incredibly grateful to Miller Homes for this generous £1,000 award. Wheelchair basketball is a vital, inclusive sport, and this funding will make a real difference, primarily by providing essential equipment and helping to subsidise membership costs for our players. This support helps us to remove financial barriers, ensuring more people can access the joy and community of our sport and even potentially go on to represent Scotland at a national event." Neil Gaffney, Regional Sales Director for Miller Homes Scotland East, added, "We're delighted to support Lothian Phoenix Wheelchair Basketball Club through our community fund. Inclusive sports clubs like this play an important role in bringing communities together and giving everyone the chance to take part. We are pleased that this funding will help provide vital equipment and ensure more people can enjoy the benefits of wheelchair basketball." For more information on Miller Homes Community Fund and to find out when the next round of funding opens, visit millerhomes.co.uk/community fund.
Council gets windfall from cottage sale. West Lothian Council will get an unlikely windfall from the sale of 4 cottages 36 miles away from Livingston in the Borders. The council's executive heard that the 4 cottages need refurbishment, with only 2 likely to go to the market with a price tag of more than £100,000. West Lothian's likely eventual share from the sale of the cottages at Stow near Garashiels could be around that figure. The cottages are in the legacy ownership shared between West Lothian, City of Edinburgh, East Lothian and Mid Lothian councils. A report to the council's executive said, by collaboration review, the owning council sought proposals for long-term prospects as the last remaining resident tenant was due to vacate in July 2025, allowing vacant possession across all 4 properties. As part of this review, the longer-term proposals comprised refurbishment, redevelopment and potential disposal. Whilst the day-to-day management of the asset is currently undertaken by the City of Edinburgh Council on behalf of all 4 parties, health and safety management and statutory maintenance and repairing requirements have become more financially onerous, highlighting a need for action. The City of Edinburgh Council has been absorbing these over the years on the proviso that they will be recouped those justifiable costs from the co-owning councils. An initial condition survey was completed for number 1, Court Ferry. It was noted that the cost to bring property to a lettable standard would be fairly estimated at £137,800, with West Lothian Council equitable share being approximately £34,450. The report added, the Council therefore have jointly proposed to market the properties for disposal. In preparation of this process, the properties have been independently valued by Anderson Strathearn, who are also instructed to market the properties with vacant possession on the basis of the value stated as follows. 1. Court Ferry offers over 95,000. 2. Court Ferry offers over 125,000. 3. Court Ferry offers over 85,000. 4. Court Ferry offers over 105,000. 3 of the 4 properties are currently under offer, but no offer has yet been received in respect of number 2 Court Ferry. A consensus between all four councils for the sale price of each property at a level that satisfies best value is required. The cost relating to marketing, legal fees and repairing costs to date will be subtracted from the capital receipts on each on an equitable basis. The sale of the properties will contribute towards the council's revenue budget targets for the commercial property portfolio.
Crooks are caught on salon CCTV. The moment a masked gang of hapless thieves launch a bungling raid on a salon was caught on camera. The incident at Glow, that's GLO, Tanning in Heartland, Switburn, was caught on CCTV on Tuesday, January 6th. Just after 3 a.m, 4 people can be seen appearing to get out of a car outside the premises. They unsuccessfully attempt to wrench the door open with a crowbar, which results in one falling over, before resorting to what appears to be a large metal cutter to burst it open as they rush inside. After finally gaining access, the gang scour the premises for loot, but end up fleeing with just a small amount of cash and stock, leaving the inside of the salon otherwise untouched, with no damage to the sunbeds or equipment. Manager Gillian Girdwood, 49, told Edinburgh Live, "It's a bit scary thinking about it, but we don't understand why they even did it. They've not trashed the place or trashed the beds. One guy even came in and took a couple of cans of juice. No idea what that was about. Maybe he was thirsty." Footage from outside the salon shows a car pulling up and 4 people dressed in black, with their faces covered, climbing out. Bizarrely, 2 of them appear to be wearing a delivery driver's uniform. Gillian added her staff had been affected by the incident, with other businesses in the area broken into in recent weeks. However, there is no suggestion they are linked. She said, "The staff have been left quite wary since they've got to lock up on their own when it's dark, but the owner is taking precautions to make us feel safer. He's getting shutters put in and had the alarm company in to connect our alarm to the police station." She added, "I think it was a professional job because they had all the equipment. They started with crowbars, then went and got a set of jaws, like what the fire brigade would use to cut through cars. Folk have said something like that wouldn't be cheap." A Police Scotland spokesman said, "Around 3:20 a.m. on Tuesday, January the 6th, we received a report of a housebreaking at a premises on Righouse View, Whitburn. Inquiries are ongoing." And there is a photograph taken from the CCTV, and very dark, but you can see 4 figures, but there's nothing really to identify them as far as I can see anyway, because it is such a dark photograph.
Golden Friday is getting ready for kick-off by Ross Thompson. And I should say at this point that golden is spelt Goalden. A new football tournament for young people in West Lothian is set to be launched. Golden Fridays is a new weekly 6-a-side tournament which will take place every Friday at Inverarmond High School in Livingston, with the first week set to begin on February the 6th. The tournament, which is open to S1 and S2 West Lothian school pupils, is the brainchild of Tyler Huxford, who runs the Golden Coaching Academy. It's expected that the tournament is set to run until the summer and will have a top prize of £500 for the winning team, as well as weekly prizes. Tyler, who's been coaching for over a decade and worked at senior clubs such as Falkirk, is hoping the tournament will be a real success. He said, "When I was younger, I was a pupil at Dean's High School and we had a great after-school club every Friday. You didn't want to miss it, and we are hoping to do the same. It would be good to have pupils from other schools mixing together, keeping them off the streets, and the incentive of a cash prize at the end, we hope, will have an excellent turnout." Tyler and the team at Golden Coaching deliver sessions in a high-energy, structured format with a strong focus on individual attention, safe practices and fun. Tyler added, the tournament is aimed at giving local kids something to do on Friday afternoons with the added incentive of prizes and it also being football-based. But ultimately, it's about getting young people to enjoy their football and meet new people. Any team wishing to take part can do so by emailing goldencoachingacademy@gmail.com or find Golden Coaching Academy on Facebook, Instagram and TikTok.
We have now come to the end of part 3, and in part 4 we will tell you the answers to the quiz and in some sports news will be included. Welcome to part 4, and we will start off first of all this section with the answers to the quiz. Question 1. Which major river runs through the city of Nottingham? The choices were Trent, Tyne or Tamar, and the answer is Trent. What is Gamp an informal name for? The choices were car, umbrella or horse, and it is an umbrella. Question 3. Which US writer created the criminal defence lawyer Perry Mason? Oh, that name takes me back. And the answer to that question was Earl Stanley Gardner. Question 4. What is the capital city of Denmark? Choices were Helsinki, Copenhagen or Oslo, and the answer is Copenhagen. Craven Cottage is the home ground of which English football club? That'll be Fulham. And question 6. What type of creature is a shoveler? It is a duck. So I hope those questions were fine for you and that you got 100%. So we will now complete the section with more news from the Courier and Kate.
Derby beaten by frost. The big derby clash between Broxburn Athletic and Linlithgow Rose was beaten by the weather on Saturday, as fixtures across the county were wiped out by freezing temperatures and snow. Brox were due to host their local rivals at Alban Park, but a frozen pitch saw the game postponed and a new date is yet to be arranged. It means Broxburn's next match is this Saturday, when they are playing host to University of Stirling in the first round of the Lowland League Cup. Meanwhile, Linlithgow Rose will be in East of Scotland Cup semi-final action on Saturday when they play host to SPFL League 2 outfit Edinburgh City. During their break from action, the Gallant have been strengthened their squad for the second half of the campaign. Boss Gordon Herd has added forward duo Adam McGowan and Liam Middleton to their ranks, with both having good experience under their belts. A club statement reads, "The club is delighted to confirm the signing of forwards Adam McGowan and Liam Middleton. Adam joins us on a permanent deal, having previously featured for Cartcairn, Trinent, East Kilbride and Hamilton Academical. Liam joins us on loan from Falkirk, having also played with Heart of Midlothian and Dunfermline Athletic."
Schools can enjoy Burns Day. Aldi Scotland is giving primary school pupils in West Lothian the chance to enjoy a truly traditional Burns supper, complete with all the trimmings, including a piper. The UK's cheapest supermarket 2024 is set to host its first ever Great Scottish Supper, with one primary school class winning an unforgettable Robert Burns celebration. Schools across the country are invited to take part, with one primary school class set to receive everything they need to host a memorable Burns Day feast, including the traditional haggis, neeps and tatties, as well as more contemporary dishes such as haggis bonbons and vegetarian haggis. A piper will also perform the ceremonial piping in of the haggis. To participate, primary school classes of any age are invited to submit original Scots poems, giving pupils the opportunity to engage creatively with Scottish heritage and literature in true Burns style. Poems should capture the spirit and traditions of Robert Burns by telling his story in a modern and imaginative way. Alan Leslie, buying director at Aldi Scotland, said, "As one of the most loyal supporters of Scottish food and drink, we believe we have a responsibility to ensure Scots of all ages can experience our most iconic culinary traditions. Burns Day is the perfect occasion for our youngest generation to enjoy some of the outstanding produce Scotland is famous for." Centuries after his lifetime, Robert Burns remains Scotland's most celebrated poet, and what better way to honour his legacy than by encouraging young people to explore their own creativity. We're really looking forward to reading the poems from primary classes across the country and are excited to bring our first ever Great Scottish Supper to a deserving school. To enter, schools should send their original poems to scottishcompetition@aldi.co.uk by Friday, January the 23rd.
Scottish Secretary's Visit. Manufacturer welcomes Alexander by Ross Thompson. Invinity Energy Systems plc, a leading global manufacturer of utility-grade energy storage, was delighted to welcome the Secretary of State for Scotland, Douglas Alexander MP, to the company's Bathgate manufacturing facility. During a guided tour of the facility, led by Invinity's chair Neil O'Brien and key members of staff, the Secretary of State charged and discharged an Invinity battery system connected to the Scottish electricity grid and learned about its key safety and low noise characteristics. The Secretary also took the opportunity to learn how these vanadium flow batteries offer a scalable UK-made solution to reliably and affordably store renewable energy for use on demand. Following the tour, the Secretary of State, accompanied by Kirstine Sullivan, MP for Bathgate and Linlithgow, learned about the recent commercial progress announced by the company, discussed the significance of the UK LDES cap and floor scheme, for which Invinity could be supplying up to 16.7 GWh of its products, and was given an update on the progress achieved to date at the Invinity Copwood VFB Energy Hub. The Secretary of State, Douglas Alexander, said it was great to visit Invinity in Bathgate to meet their workers. The facility shows how Scotland is at the forefront of delivering the infrastructure to help bring energy bills down while creating high-quality green energy jobs. Energy storage is essential to allow us to fully utilise Scotland's offshore wind resources and cut bills by building a more efficient, resilient grid. Invinity was created in April 2020 through the merger of two flow battery industry leaders, Red T Energy plc and Avalon Battery Corporation. Invinity's factory-built flow batteries run continually with no degradation for over 30 years, making them suitable for the most demanding applications in renewable energy production. Energy storage systems based on Invinity's batteries are safe, reliable and economical and range in size from 1 to hundreds of megawatt hours. Neil O'Brien, non-executive chair at Invinity, said, "We were pleased to welcome the Secretary of State to our Bathgate facility and demonstrate how Invinity's Scottish-built technology supports a more efficient and affordable energy system. By enabling renewable power to be stored and used where it is needed most, long-duration energy storage plays a vital role in reducing energy system costs and protecting consumers from volatile energy prices. We are proud that our work in Scotland is supporting UK energy security, high-quality clean energy jobs and the export of British clean energy technology worldwide." And there are a number of photographs where the Secretary of State is being shown around this very modern and state-of-the-art facility by the staff and is looking at the lines and the screens that there are, and everybody is wearing their high-vis jacket.
Help Cadets Mark Major Milestones by Ross Thompson. Members of the 1271 Bathgate Air Cadets are marking a significant milestone in their history. The squadron will have as its current location in the town Trafficken Street for the past 60 years. To mark the occasion, members of the Air Cadets are seeking former members to share their memories of their days in the squadron. Bathgate Air Cadets Treasurer Wayne Stevens said, "The squadron continues to parade in the ATC hut on Tuesday and Thursday evening, welcoming young people between the ages of 12 and 20 years old, and has a current intake of 40 cadets under the guidance of current squadron commander Stephanie Fell. We'd love to hear from former 1271 cadets, especially those who attended the opening night, and are keen to collect stories and photos from any time since the squadron was formed in 1941. We're also interested in the memories of the previous squadron hut at 79 Mid Street. To celebrate, we're planning a small event around the anniversary where ex-cadets are welcome to visit, meet current members and share their experiences. Anyone with memories or photos to share can contact Wayne at 1271@rafac.mod.gov.uk. And this piece is obviously the centrepiece of the paper, and it has 9 pictures of, certainly looks like all the cadets marching on parade, well attired, beautifully presented. We've got one young man in a 2-seater plane, obviously going up and experiencing that. I have a group of young men and women in fatigues, and they are obviously working out a battle plan because they're all round a table and they're all looks as if they're contributing ideas. I have a group of young men and women standing at one of the memorials, and I have a picture of the hut where they meet in Trafficken Street, just to make people aware that's where they meet.
Residential development at site. House builder Cruden has submitted a planning application for a new residential development at Kirkton North in Livingston. The site is currently allocated for residential development in the West Lothian Local Development Plan and will deliver much-needed multi-tenure family homes for West Lothian. Located to the west of Livingston and just 3 miles from the town centre, the proposed development will provide 67 high-quality homes, including detached, semi-detached, terraced homes and cottage flats, offering accommodation from 2 to 5 bedroom homes. In line with local policy, 25% of the homes will be delivered as affordable housing, supporting a balanced and inclusive community to meet a wide range of local housing needs. The 8-acre site features retained woodland and a new neighbourhood play area, alongside enhanced pedestrian connections linking the site to the nearby bus stops, paths and local amenities. The plans have been shaped through extensive engagement with West Lothian Council and the local community, with feedback from pre-application consultation events directly influencing the final layout, housing mix and open space provision. The development will also deliver energy-efficient homes designed to meet modern building standards, helping to support more sustainable living. Paul Doran, Development Director at Cruden, said, "From the outset, our approach has been to create a carefully designed development that respects and enhances its surroundings, strengthens the local sense of place and thoughtfully integrates new homes with green spaces and the existing community. Our proposals provide much-needed, high-quality housing for Livingston, building on our recent track record of delivering homes across a range of tenures in West Lothian."
RAC team meets with government. Local campaigners looking for justice for homeowners affected by crumbling concrete met Scottish Government officials on Tuesday. Livingston's Kerry McIntosh said it was an opportunity for the RAC UK campaign to press the case for compensation. People need grants, not loans, she told the local Democracy Reporting Service. The new engagement follows a face-to-face meeting with the Housing Minister, Mary McAllen, last month. Writing on his blog, Wilson Chowdhury, the chair of the UK RAC campaign group, said the meeting with officials from Holyrood's Better Homes department could be a turning point. He said it's clear that the Scottish Government, through officials like Louise Thompson and Deputy Director Matt Elsby, is beginning to take our campaign seriously. Their willingness to meet and discuss our evidence in detail is a step forward, and it's a platform from which we can push for a UK-wide national RAC fund and a fully resourced remediation strategy. Our co-vice chairs, Kerry McIntosh and Hannah Chowdhury, our secretary, Fiona Crichton, and our associate member, Jodie Hillcoat, attended, ensuring a strong committee presence. Housing associations are now being engaged, following our request that they be included in discussions, a recognition that addressing RAC requires collaboration across all sectors of housing provision. Kerry told the LDRS that the UK Government had to work with Holyrood to find a solution to the issues facing homeowners who bought former local authority homes in good faith, only to now find themselves saddled with potentially huge bills for repairs. While potential solutions have been announced in Aberdeen, Dundee and Tillycutchee, where RAC-roofed homes have been identified, no money has been paid out. She said, "We're tired of listening to them blaming each other. The money has to be found to support these people affected by RAC. Families are living in fear of a material failure that is not their fault. We need urgent solutions and clear commitments. Anything less leaves thousands at risk and in financial strain." And she added, people need grants, not loans. Mr. Chowdhury said, "Our campaign faces a pivotal moment. The confirmed meeting with Scottish Government officials is a key opportunity to advance the agenda, push for parity of support across the UK, and demand a public inquiry into the historic failings that have left thousands at risk. We will continue to press for pre-RAC property valuations to restore affected homeowners to their rightful financial position, fully funded roof replacement or remediation delivered promptly and without burdening households, a coordinated UK-wide approach ensuring no homeowner is left behind due to postcode or tenure." He added, while a UK-wide solution remains the ideal, it must be stressed that the Scottish Government retains a fundamental responsibility to its citizens. Failing timely support or intervention from the UK Government, it must act unilaterally to ensure homeowners in Scotland receive a fair and equitable outcome. Thousands of families are already facing financial strain and insecure housing. They cannot afford further delay.
Soft Play Centre to Open Doors by Cara Blackhall. A new Soft Play Centre is to set open in West Lothian in the coming weeks. Sandcastle Soft Play in Bathgate will open its doors in February, providing new jobs for locals. Co-owners Susan Donald and Barry Irvin made the decision to open the centre as they believe that there are areas for improvement in existing soft play across Edinburgh and Lothians. They are focused on creating a safe and stimulating environment for children under 10 years old, with a 3-storey climbing frame included. Located on Whitburn Road, it is hoped that the space will be a warm and safe environment for families. The cafe will also offer fresh food alongside a range of hot and cold drinks. The centre will feature both structured and free play, with dedicated zones tailored to different age groups. The opening comes after an £80,000 funding package from HSBC UK. Susan Donald, co-owner of Sandcastle Soft Play, said, As a parent of 3 young children, I understand how important it is to have a warm, safe space for families. Our hope is that the Soft Play Centre becomes a vibrant part of the local community. This funding has provided us with a significant opportunity to invest in a high-quality, large climbing frame, as well as access to brilliant support from HSBC UK throughout our business journey. Laura Ann Robertson, Portfolio Manager at HSBC UK, said, "We've loved supporting Susan and Barry in bringing Sandcastle Soft Play to life. It's inspiring to see 2 ambitious and passionate individuals creating a welcoming space for children and families in the community. We look forward to the centre opening soon and to support their exciting plans for future growth." And it actually shows a picture or proposed picture of the area, and it's all very bright blues and yellows and climbing frames. It looks really exciting and interesting.
And that story brings us to the end of our broadcast for this week. We hope that you found it enjoyable and informative. Please put your memory stick back into the blue wallet, change the address label, and pop it into the postbox. Remember that our wallets should only be posted in a postbox and not taken to a post office. Until next time, take care, stay safe, and very best wishes from Team 4.